Less salt, more taste. Key industry associations from the food and culinary sector have pledged support to a national movement promoting less salt and sauces in our food.
For more on how they are doing this, we have with us Mr. Patrick Chan from the Association of Catering Professionals and Mr. Wei Chan. He's from the Restaurant Association of Singapore. Let's start with you, Patrick. Sure. Now, you've made this pledge. Presumably, you might want to translate that into less salt right away. And right now, it's not just restaurants, catering, so Christmas, Chinese New Year, end of the year celebrations. You're looking at dishes in which you might right away want to reduce the salt levels in these dishes. Is that going to be very difficult?
I would say that right now is a very busy period for caterers. So, of course, I think a lot of caterers might want to postpone a bit after the new year to do this. But I think that increasingly we can see a lot of customers asking for this lower sodium salt in our menus. So I believe that the caterers are being embarked into this program with HPB.
So you have been seeing requests for more sort of healthier dishes with less salt. Are those specific requests that you're getting from your customers?
Definitely, yes. We see a bit of increment with the more healthy lifestyle that Singaporeans want to pursue.
Can you put a percentage on that?
I would say that maybe right now, around 20% of customers might be asking for more healthier options. Okay. For example, less sugar and lower sodium salt in their menu.
All right, Mr. Wei, put a percentage not just on the number who want less salt, but also on what we mean by less salt. Presumably, every dish, every restaurant, every catering outfit has different levels of salt. How do you then say we are now putting in 30% salt compared to, I don't know, October of this year?
I think for a start, it's a movement. So let's try and get everybody on board first. And then subsequently, I think a couple of our members have already worked with HPB. The likes of Dong Lok, the likes of Soup Spoon have started to do some dishes. I think for a start, I won't be very ambitious to go all dishes, but let's start with one dish from one restaurant. And I think Restaurant Association, we might be looking at that to push our fellow members to introduce step by step, and hopefully by then, when the public wants more of these dishes and realize that less salt actually has more taste, then we will increase that number. I think hopefully by then we will have a good natural attrition to that.
Yeah, it's a challenging objective, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I mean, to get more taste into food when people assume that putting salt in to taste is going to give that taste, right? When you talk about the work that your members are doing, I mean, they must be receiving training and so on to actually get this done. Talk to us about what you were saying, that they're trying to sort of make changes with just one dish at a time. Are there some that are being more ambitious?
Well, for a start, I think the association will work with other associations, the like of the Polytechnics, the Asian Culinary Institute, and to come up with, to curate more recipes with less salt. Now, as to how to do the less salt, it's not just salt itself. The chefs have tried double boiled soup, right, using the freshest of ingredients. There's also the alternative and the myth for using MSG. So MSG is another way of putting a bit of taste to the food, and with a little bit less salt. Yeah. So of course HPB has also helped the associations to come up with a list of suppliers to look at purchasing the low sodium salt at a wholesale prices that will facilitate that recipe curation.
All right, so if we just look at, say, double-boiled chicken soup, right? You need the freshest of ingredients, so ideally not even frozen chicken, fresh garlic, fresh, all the rest of that. Now, that comes at considerable cost.
Yes,
okay?
It is.
Restaurants, for all their good intentions, they have to stay afloat. Caterers as well.
Yes, correct.
Can you make it less salty and still make money?
I would say that it's increasingly more important to do that because there's a social impact to that. Because Singaporeans are consuming more salt, as a result, there's a risk of hypertension, heart attack, and all this. So I think as caterers, we need to adopt this motion that caterers need to adopt more lower sodium variants into their menu because we cater at scale as well. So we need to take care of our consumers as well. Of course, the cost will be high, but having said that, I think the cost compared to the better image for caterers to adopt and, of course, get more customers is more important than the cost we felt.
It's going to be important to get consistency with this. So, in the restaurant sector, or even with the broader catering sector, when you have such high staff turnover as well, do you anticipate you're going to be needing, specific training and sort of discipline training to keep that consistency there?
Well, I think there will be, but as professionals, when the recipe is curated, I think that's where we execute the professional job. So I don't think it will be a big challenge but I think the challenge is curating that recipe, because it's not just salt, but other sauces and ingredients that has higher salt content. So we are also working with suppliers that do oyster sauce or even the likes of a soy sauce to look into less sodium soy sauce. And then the curation, that's the part that needs a bit of work as to executing the dish.
Right.
Yeah.
So a combination of flavors and I suppose preparation techniques so that you can cut down on salt but not on flavor.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, thanks so much, gentlemen, for coming in this evening. Patrick Chan, President of the Association of Catering Professionals, and Mr. Wei Chan, Honorary Secretary of the Restaurant Association of Singapore.